Hey, welcome back. Glad you're here. So this is what my playoff picture looks like. I've already kind of picked the teams I think are going to win, but that doesn't really say much about how these playoffs are going to stack up. So let's go over all these possible looks from each team, each position from both conferences, because it can get a little sticky here. I can't even swallow right now. I think we can start with the AFC. They have the most locked-in positions. Okay, so Kansas City, lucky dogs, look at you sitting there on the bye week, drinking yourself a little cocktail, watching everybody else play around. Must be nice. Not like it is over here. We'll get to that though. No. So you're good. You're sitting there. So chances are this last game of the season, you're not going to be, trying to risk anybody's injuries. You're probably going to rest your starters at least in one of the halves, maybe the second half. Maybe start the first half, or maybe finish the game. Probably start the first half. Give your guys that are trying to prove themselves maybe a little bit of a head start to see if they can hold on to a lead you might get them or whatever. You know what I mean? You know how it is. All right? You're locked in. 2, you're locked in. Buffalo, nobody's catching you. 3rd and 4th seed are not catching you, okay? Baltimore, we're not going to talk about you just yet because you're not locked in, but the 4th seed is. Houston, you're not going anywhere no matter what happens with the 3rd seed. You're locked in. Okay, Baltimore, you have a chance to lose this, okay? The only chance you have to lose this is if you lose and Pittsburgh wins. If you lose to the Browns in Baltimore and the Pittsburgh Steelers hold home court against a fired up Bengals team, then you will hold 3rd place, or you will lose 3rd place if that happens. In Pittsburgh, you will gain 3rd. However, this is my pick. I don't see Baltimore losing at home to the Browns, not if they're trying to hold home court. Even though Pittsburgh wants to get it, they know that you'd have to lose. So Pittsburgh, you're just fighting to face the Texans at this point. You don't want to go face Baltimore again, unless you absolutely have to right away. Give them a chance to lose to somebody. However, I have my upset pick being the Bengals, which would put you into the 6th seed to place Baltimore should you lose to the Bengals. Because I don't see the Chargers losing to the Raiders, who knows they're not in anyway. They know they got to save guys for next year. There's not much they're going to upset because you're in the playoffs anyway. So I see this being a little more to the Chargers. They want to play Houston. They're going to be playing for it, right? And as my pick of an upset being the Bengals, really on fire with Joe Burrow right now, bro. This is what my system looks like as far as my picks in the AFC. But Pittsburgh, you could be in all 3 of these positions. LA, if Baltimore loses, there's nothing you can do, even winning, to take over their spot. So the only way you get 5th is if what I believe is going to happen, which is Baltimore winning and Pittsburgh losing. That's the only way you get 5th. But that's where I have you put, okay? So this is probably going to happen. This may happen. Pittsburgh might lose to these Bengals. That's why I have them as my upset, because the Bengals are trying to get in, dude, and they have to win. Like, you don't have to win, dude. You're in. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to win. But you don't want to face Baltimore in the first game. You want to try and give them a chance to get tired, get their defense beat up a little more before you have to face them. Trust me, you want to face Houston. The reason I'd say you want to face Houston over Baltimore is because Houston is a younger team. The team's never made it to the Super... You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of reasons why Houston would be struggling to make it through the playoffs. Their 2nd or 3rd time being in the playoffs at all. And they're just not Baltimore in general, right? So that's how that can shake out in the AFC. The 7th seed, however, is where all the fun's at, because it starts with Denver. Now, they're playing a Kansas City team who are probably going to be sitting, and they want to win. They have to win. If they lose, then they have to have Miami lose, and they have to have Pittsburgh win. Now, Pittsburgh winning is more probable than having Miami lose. So if Miami wins and they lose, Miami's in, and they're out, right? Miami's probably going to beat the Jets. It's almost certain at this point that they're going to beat the Jets. So you might as well count Miami for a win, which is what I'm going to do. I'm kind of going with the easy math here to put these scenarios into more of a perspective. So you kind of have to win, Denver. So I'm saying Denver's going to win. They're going to be fighting, knowing they have to win probably because Miami's going to. And Kansas City's going to be sitting a lot of guys, I'm sure, but they're going to have to, dude. It'd be the smartest thing they could ever do. Unless they're trying to push Denver out. If they're trying to push Denver out and face Miami instead, that would be like their only, but I don't think they care. I think they want to just be healthy, right? So I'm going to say Denver wins. And even though Miami wins, it's not going to help them. And I think the Bengals are going to be my upset, and I still don't think it's going to help them. Because the Bengals need both of these teams to lose in order for them to make this seed. They need to have Miami lose to the Jets, which, man, that's just probably not going to happen unless some crazy stuff goes on. And Denver, knowing that they got to win, because they're seeing Miami win, right? They're seeing Miami is winning against the Jets. I'm not saying none of these are certain. These are just my picks, right? This is what I'm pretty sure is going to happen. And even though these guys I think they're going to win, this is my projected AFC. So let's move over to the NFC. Detroit's going to be first or fifth. It doesn't matter how you shake this out, right? So Tampa Bay, LA, or Atlanta. One of those three teams is who Minnesota or Detroit's going to face after this next game. First game of the playoffs, whether it be the very first game or the second game in after the wild card round, because whoever wins this game this weekend between Minnesota and Detroit is going to own first place in the NFC. Obviously, they'll win their division, which means that they will get that first week off, that first bye week. Which, I mean, as far as injuries with Detroit, they need it really for a couple guys. Like a couple guys, as Anzalone will already be back. Maybe David Montgomery. It'd be nice to get that extra week off to get him that other week of healing before he comes back, if that's the case. And maybe get some of them guys that just came back, or some of the guys that haven't had a break yet, like a little time off, just to get them, get some massages in and maybe get a little therapy in type stuff, right? So I think, honestly, Detroit could use the first round bye. Our guys being older, a lot of them on the line, O-line and stuff, like some of the main guys. And just because of our injuries, I think we really need it. You could say Minnesota. There's lots of reasons you could say either team needs it, but I think Detroit really does need it. And it's not just coming from a Detroit Lions fan's perspective. Because honestly, if I think about it from another perspective, which is we haven't lost a road game, I don't give a shit if we're fifth seed. We could be fifth seed all day. I think we'll go in there and beat a Tampa Bay, maybe even an LA at home. I don't know. This is going to be the tough one. Look, man, LA is the dangerous team. This is the most dangerous team on this list right now. They're coming back fully healthy, dude. And the LA team fully healthy. I mean, Stafford hasn't been playing the greatest, but he will come around at playoff time, dude. By the time these guys get to playoff football, whew. All right, so we know 1st and 5 are kind of locked down. 2's definitely staying. All the rest of these positions really are up for grabs. Although you could say 6 and 7 are also in a position to where it's either going to be Green Bay or Washington, and no one's going to supplant these guys either. No one's going to take the place of these two. The only way Green Bay really wins is if Washington loses. If Green Bay loses and Washington loses, then they're 7th. The only way Green Bay gets to 6 is if they win and Washington loses. So they have to win for 6, which means they'd be playing LA, because nobody wants to go into Philadelphia which is more than likely going to be a healthy Jalen Hurts and a Saquon Barkley at home, bro. Ooh, that's going to be rough. So you want to come up here? I don't know who you want to play. Dude, there's no good answer here. There's no good. It's not like over here with Houston where you kind of could say, all right, well, they have a newer team and that, one out of the 3 is somehow a pick. Over here, dude, well, I guess you could say the 4th seed. Tampa Bay is beatable, right? Unless, say, Tampa Bay loses to the Saints, which I don't see happening. Atlanta's beatable. Atlanta's definitely beatable. So you'd want the Saints. Everybody in the NFC is gonna be praying for the Saints to win, bro. You want the Saints to win, no matter what. NFC, that's your pick of the week, right? That's your upset of the week if you're in the NFC. That's definitely your Atlanta pick. So third seed is LA's unless they lose. If LA loses to a only here to play spoiler Seahawks, and you get Buccaneers win, then they'll take the third seed, and you'll push LA down to fourth. I think this would be the most entertaining shit you could ever throw on television. Minnesota or Detroit again. I know nobody wants to see it, but there could definitely be a lowest seed Detroit LA game. It could happen. Now, the only thing in the AFC that I haven't really switched around over here, to be honest, is this game, which basically takes the Chargers out of fifth seed contention. So the Chargers have to really if they want to get the fifth seed and play Houston at home instead of playing Baltimore, they have to win and hope that Pittsburgh gets beat like in my spoiler. But as you can see, this is my projection. Washington and Green Bay can't really. I have Dallas beating Washington at home, coming off of a end of the season thriller kind of thing. That's why Washington's seventh. Because if Washington really comes in and beats them, there's nothing Green Bay can do to come out of seventh place and have to go to Philly. I mean, if I were to say the most probable, this is the most probable, I would say. But I have a couple upsets. I have the Bengals winning, and I have Dallas beating Washington. The only other upset that I can see that would be meaningful in here is if Minnesota can't, like, this is my picks, really. I think this is what I have picked, but if, the Minnesota could come in here and upset, pushing us down to play LA. Actually, I have LA beating the Seahawks, so I don't think they're losing third. I don't think the Falcons are going to get in for that reason. The only way the Falcons would have got in is if, I think LA could, it doesn't matter if LA wins or not. The only way Falcons are getting in is if the Bucks lose, and I just don't see the Bucks losing to the Saints. I just don't. That's why I'm saying the Saints is kind of everybody's thing, because then you can get the Falcons in there and have an even lower seed in there struggling it out. That'd be kind of cool. But this is my pick right here. These are my picks. So as you can see, I have Baltimore beating the Browns at home. Eagles holding court, no problem, against New York, who's just miserable right now. Even if they played their hearts out, I just don't. That could probably rest half their people, dude. But anyway, I see the Bengals upsetting Pittsburgh at home. Just because Joe Burrow's a badass, and I'd love to see it. Then you got Green Bay winning against Chicago at home. Chicago struggling really bad. Tennessee's out, so the Texans are just gonna go in there and make sure that. They could even rest their guys. This game doesn't even matter. Like I said, this game could go either way. Tennessee could win and be like, yay, or Texans could rest their guys. It would be smart for Texas just to rest, I think. So that game doesn't really matter. I just have Texas win, the better team. And over here, this could switch, dude. This could really switch. This is a game that, because this is a divisional game, and the Seahawks would just love to come in there and just make sure that LA sits down here and has to face the Detroit. They know if they've pushed him down into the 4th seed by making them get a loss here, because even if Tampa Bay, it would take Tampa Bay losing for them to stay 3rd seed, and I just don't see that happening. And when they go over this stuff in the locker rooms and talking to themselves, like, this will get you fired up. Like, if you're going, bro, if we beat them, that means, that they're gonna. Oh, where would they do? Oh man, that push them down. All that. They're thinking all that. They got to be thinking of this. Like, you gotta have motivation to win at the end of the season. It only takes one of the teammates to spread this little mind virus in there too, or the coaches or somebody, right? But that's what I'm saying is I see LA winning this game. They're going to try, dude. They have all their starters. They're going to see if their system's going to garner them what they want out of it, especially against a divisional team that they know they face all the time. They know how to play against them. This is your chance with your starters to prove your system out to yourselves and to your coaches and the players. You know what I mean? Like, this is your chance to kind of like redo it again now that you got all your guys. So I just don't see them losing this game. So this is my pick. These two can switch obviously at the bottom, which means Green Bay would have to pay Philly, but I think Dallas might outplay Washington. Washington's playing to play LA. I don't know, man. You might rest because you know you got to play one of these two teams no matter what you do. Phillies in the cold, LA out in the dome. Maybe you want to go to the dome. So maybe you do play harder. But I don't know. I think you kind of sit your guys knowing you're going to be going to one of these two places. And I think Dallas is trying to play spoiler a little bit. I mean, they're trying to play a division. They're playing a divisional game. They're trying to show a little bit of pride. Trying to maybe save their coach's job. I think a lot of that stuff's going to play into this game. That's why I picked Dallas to beat Washington. They're at home. They get the home crowd. You know what I mean? It's just, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of reasons to pick Dallas in this game. I see the Falcons beating the Panthers. They have to win. They're going to probably win this game. I don't see Miami losing. They have to win. The Bucks, it's going against the Saints, dude. It is a divisional game, but I just think you're going to play in Tampa Bay. It's just, there's nothing to really play for. Tampa Bay has a lot to play for. They have to win this game. Honestly, if they don't win this game, dude, they could be put out by the Falcons. If the Falcons win, so they have to win, dude, and the Saints don't. So that's why they're picking them. Denver, kind of the same story. They got to win to make sure they're in. Like, win and you're in. You can lose and still be in, but you win, you're definitely in. And they're probably going to be playing the Kansas City backups. They're at home. I'm going to have to pick Denver on this one. I got the Buffalo winning. This is one of them games that doesn't matter either. New England could possibly win this game. They may sit everybody on this team. The starters might be out on a group vacation by the time they come play the Patriots. Who knows, right? So it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna pick the Bills because they're just the better team. So I'm just gonna pick them. And like I said, the Chargers got to come in to a divisional game. Damn, they're 4-12, bro. Like I said, I don't care how hard the Raiders match up against them. I think the Raiders know their season's over, and they're really trying to save, not hurt anybody. Max Crosby's wouldn't be playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no reason for him to play. And the Chargers they have to kind of win in order just to get out of going to Baltimore, getting that higher seed, just to come play that little bit easier of a seed. Like, you want to win this game. And you're starting to get a little bit of momentum, you know what I'm saying? You need that going into the offseason. So that's why I picked Chargers to win this game. This game doesn't matter for anything. So I just got the Colts winning. They're at home going against the Jacksonville team that doesn't really care at this point. They're more looking towards the draft and everything else. The Colts got a little bit to play for, I would say. They're not going to make it, but they do want to have that almost 50-piece record. You know what I'm saying? I mean, 8-9 isn't as bad as, 8-9 is nowhere near as bad as 7-10, right? It just feels that way, doesn't it? And you're at home, you want to win it for your fans at the end. So I'm going to pick the Colts there. I'm going to say San Francisco comes into the Cardinals, and because of their, actually, didn't I change this to the Cardinals winning? I think the Cardinals are at home, and they're playing a San Francisco team that's lost Brock Purdy at this point. He's definitely not playing the rest of the season. They're probably gonna end up sitting a couple guys. There's just some guys that after that Detroit game, they're just not gonna care anymore. When the Cardinals are at home, we're just gonna pick the Cardinals to win this game. It doesn't really matter at this point between these two. I think the story would be better for the Cardinals. San Francisco looks like they're hurting. It just seems more probable, right? And just the fact that it's a divisional game too, the Cardinals might have their number a bit right here, is what I'm saying. The Cardinals had a much better season overall. And could this be a race for a draft pick at this point between San Francisco and the Cardinals? The Cardinals need it more. So I don't know. So I'm just saying Cardinals. And I think you've seen my other picks, so I hope you enjoyed the little thingy there where I went over all these matchups, what I believe my picks are. I gave you some upsets, and after this weekend, we'll go over the playoff tree and see where we're at. Man, what a fun time to be a NFL fan, especially if you're like me and you're in Detroit. You're coming into this one hot, and a dead heat with Minnesota, both with badass records. Like Dan Campbell said, this is what players and coaches. This is why they do it, and this is, as fans, this is why we watch it. Right? Couldn't be better. So Go Lions, one pride. Beat Minnesota's ass at home, baby. And we'll see you on the next one.